Hey everyone, welcome back to the California Perspective. I'm your host Callie, and today we are addressing the question, should you buy one of the new M-series MacBooks or wait for the next generation? I've already done a video addressing the question of whether you should buy a new shiny thing. See the video here. But there are competing ideas, which I would like to discuss. At the top, I did say address and not answer, because like most things, it depends. Let's get into it. Some people, like Apple guru Rene Ritchie, say that you should wait until the last possible moment, buy what is the best you can afford, and then enjoy it for as long as possible. There are definitely positives to this advice. The primary one being that you will be confident you made the right decision at the time, and you can enjoy the product for as long as it will last, or as long as it's supported. There are other forms of advice. I contend that you should consider the release cycle, especially with Apple products and other manufacturers who upgrade their products on a fairly steady release cycle. For instance, I would like a new generation Apple Watch, but I know I'm less than 6 months from a new one being announced, and since the price doesn't really change from each new release, I'm going to wait for any of the new features in the next generation. So I am in the market for a new watch, but I can do without a new one for a while. If I were to wait to the last possible minute, I might never buy one, as the Series 0 seems like it'll last forever. And a new watch, maybe a watch at all, is a nice to have, not a need to have. But like I said, I'm still rocking the Apple Watch Series 0. But Siri doesn't work most of the time, and I want an always-on display. If I buy a new watch now, I will get the features I want, but with a processor that is 6 months old. If I wait, I will get a new chip, new features, and possibly a new design in under 6 months. So what does this mean? It means that when products are released, especially products that depreciate as slowly as Apple products, you'll get the most life out of them the sooner you buy to the release date. The iMac is another great example. Do not buy an iMac now. The iMac 21.5 inch is for sale at apple.com, and it has a 7th generation Intel Core i5. If you don't know, this is old. It should be getting a redesign and an M-series processor later this year, perhaps as late as October. If you're looking to spend iMac levels of money, wait for the new release. Not only is it a newer chip, but it goes from an Intel processor to the Apple system on a chip, known as an SoC, which is punching high above its weight class. But the guts in the current model are so old, and the product is so expensive, there is almost no justification for buying a new one. My purchasing philosophy does get a little tricky when thinking about computers. I keep getting asked, should I buy an M1 MacBook now or wait for the M1X or M2 MacBook Pros? Or even opt for an iMac? Well, you probably know whether or not you need your system to be portable, so that should answer that question. But for laptops, my main question to help people decide is, are you power constrained or are you price constrained? If you need more power, then wait for the newer models. The Macs Apple has released so far are their lowest and introductory models. But if you know you're looking to spend around $1,400 irrespective of the power, then go ahead and buy now. Macs are not typically updated every year, except for questionably the MacBook Pro 15-16 inch. Though there are still questions as to the frequency of updates in the M-series era. I don't see the M1 MacBook Air being updated until 2022. If you need dual fans, ports on both sides of the machine, a larger screen, dual monitor support, 32 gigs or more of RAM, and are looking to spend over $2,000, then wait. Those MacBooks should be announced relatively soon, anywhere really from this month to WWDC in June, or like I said, maybe in October. The next generation will have more power, but the M1 chip is powerful enough for most people doing most things. There are funky products like the iPhone 12 mini. The mini products do not sell very well, and if the SC products are any indication, they're not updated every year. There is a small selection of die-hard fans, and they do not upgrade very often. I am looking to buy a used iPhone 12 mini once the iPhone 13 comes out. It should take a hit in price, it'll probably last longer than I need it to, and it has a design that Apple will stick with for at least 2 more years. I expect the big difference in the iPhone 13 to be a faster chip, which I don't really need, a longer battery life, especially as they get the 5G issues worked out. That would be nice. Apple once finishes their work on their own modems, watch out. I expect that integration to jump battery life on 5G to impressive levels. And they've already put out announcements looking for 6G employees. When should you buy a new device? For Apple products, it's as close to the release date as you can. Be ready to return it if you need to. The last Intel-based processor for the MacBook Air ran hot, was power hungry, and was not suitable for most people. But with these few exceptions like the last MacBook Air, we know what to expect from Apple. If you're 6 months between a product release that gets an annual upgrade, wait. So if there's a product that's expected to be released after every 2 years, 6 months, go ahead and buy it, it's fine. A year, get kind of questionable. After a year, then you might consider whether or not it's worth waiting for. A quick side note on the Mac Pro. This gets released so infrequently that if you need it, you can buy into the device when it is a few years old and still get a lot of life out of it. The 2013 Mac Pro, the trash can Mac Pro, was not as customizable after purchase and had a bunch of issues, such as overheating when dust became filled in their cooling. But if the product worked for you, you could buy it a few years later and still get good use out of it. Constant Geekery has a series of videos. I have a 2009 Mac Pro, and except for this weird issue where everything stops for 10 seconds, seemingly at random, then keeps going, and it works for everything I need from a desktop. But my videos are 1080p, so they work really well, just fine. I had one hiccup once where it kept getting all weird. I had to restart the machine, and then it went fine. Kind of strange. I haven't figured out what caused that one. But there's people who edit in 4K, and once they start to put in layers, it can bog down a bit. You get the little swirling beach ball. That means the system's waiting for you to do stuff, or the system is waiting to catch up. So a MacBook Pro or the Mac Mini would be better at the low end if you're planning to edit 4K. But for me, I edit 1080p, I use multiple layers, I do a color grade. It works well. This has been Callie with the California Perspective. I hope this worked well enough to get a thumbs up from you. If you're not part of the community, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one. So I use a MacBook Air to edit my videos, but my videos